Hello, good evening, everybody. All right, if you can hear me loud and clear, feel free to put it in the chat. Okay, can you type V in the chat so that I know that you can hear me loud and clear. In the meantime, I'm just going to remind everybody that we are live, and because tonight is gonna be something super exciting, super exciting. It's like as an investor, we always want to expand our knowledge, expand our circle of confidence, and in today's case, we are even going to expand our circle of investing horizon and boundary as well, right? But before I officially introduce you the guest, there is a very special guest who he has a lot of experience in the stock market that he's going to share with you tonight. Okay, but before that, I also want to ask you guys, right? What is the market that you are mainly investing in right now? If you are investing in the US stock market, type US. If you are investing, let's say in Singapore, type SG. Malaysia, type MY. China, type China. All right, let me know. How's Penang? Hey, oh, Penang was fantastic. I really enjoyed the training a lot. And Facebook user, you did not connect, so I can't really see you. I don't really know who am I talking to. I hope that you can connect so that I can hear and I can see you properly as well. So I can see that SH mainly invested in the US, Adrian invested in the US as well. Right? How about other of our audience over here? Right? Let us know. Okay. And tonight it's going to be super special. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest to come out. Now, why did I actually, it's actually very coincidental that I managed to have the honor to speak to this guest because I have been actually doing a lot of research on other market. And like actually for myself, most of my assets are actually inside the US stock market. And then I do have some assets in the Hong Kong stock market, as well as some, just a little bit, in the Singapore stock market. But I do see the importance of, as our portfolio grow, right? You can also consider diversifying some of your assets into other countries as well. So can everybody type D in the chat? Okay, D stands for diversification. So tonight, I'm going to, the reason why we are doing today's very special sharing is because if you are looking for other additional markets to diversify your wealth, I think it's good to learn about the market first to see whether it is something that you yourself are interested in. Then if you are, then there are definitely tonight, we are also going to share with you some of the ways that you can diversify into this particular market. But before that, I also want to share with you, why is it that we are looking into this market? And because I am not an expert, I'm also a learner. So together with every single one of you tonight, I'm here to learn. So how many of you are excited to learn? If you are, can you type L in the chat? Okay, how many of you are excited to learn? If you are, type L in the chat. And as you guys have been, some of you maybe following my YouTube channel for quite a while. So recently, I published a YouTube video regarding this particular stock market that we are going to talk about tonight. Anybody know what is the video that which market am I talking about tonight? Can you put it in the chat? Anybody know what is the market am I talking about tonight? Now let me show you. For those who have been following me, you will see that okay, I do have, right? I post a lot of investing content. And recently, I actually posted this video about India economy deep dive. And the reason why am I interested in looking into the India stock market is because I've been reading this book called the Joys of Compounding by a very famous and very seasoned investor. His name is Gautam Bay. And Gautam, he's based in India. So his funds, through investing in the Indian stock market, has gone up tremendously over the years. And that's got me interested in looking into this market as a potential way of diversifying my assets. So if you are thinking about, after tonight's interview, you want to look deeper into the stock market of the India economy in general, okay, you can also go and check out my YouTube video, all right, basically India deep dive. And I published about 1 month ago. You can find me on Alligator Investor, right? But of course, right, tonight is more than just what I talk about in the video, because it's like you can watch it already. But I want it to be interviewing some experts and give you some additional insights. So if you guys are excited to invite our guest speaker tonight, can you type E in the chat? Okay, E stands for excited. And who is the speaker am I going to invite? He is actually a doctor, all right, who is actually doing a doctorate degree, postdoctorate over here, to doing a lot of research. And his research is something super interesting. It's about time. Okay, I think later on he should probably be able to clarify better, because the first time I hear about it, I was like, wow, what is this? Basically, he's doing research on the stock market and how to predict the stock market movement, which I thought, like, wow, that is something very interesting. So he's somebody very, very interested in the stock market. At the same time, he has been using whatever things that his system, his implementation onto his India portfolio as well. And some of the some of the investment that he held on, right, into the India stock market for the past 2 years, some of them even went up 400%, which I think is really mind blowing. How many of you felt that it's quite mind blowing to have a 400% some of your trades in about 2 years' time? You think it's very amazing? Can you type 400%? And tonight I'm going to invite, okay, Ankush to come and share with you. So if everybody, can you give Ankush a big round of applause? Can everybody type CCC? Clap, clap, clap for Ankush to be here.
Thank you very much, Chloe. Nice to meet you and glad to meet you all. Thank you very much.
I think they're all super excited right now. Adrian's typing like 400%, CM typing 400%. Yeah, so maybe Ankush, before we officially get started, right, can you just quickly share a little bit more about yourself? Like, what is the research that you are doing and what got you so interested in the India stock market?
Yeah, I am from northern part of India, and then I did my PhD from Bangalore. Then I was doing some research in USA and France. It was more on the statistical modeling for complex systems. And as you know, stock market is one of the complex system we have. And herein I was working on time series based prediction, wherein I was trying to make how we can know the well supports and resistance levels and know the buying and selling levels through our research approach. So those kind of things I was doing here, and I'm
So
also
your
investing
so your
from
res-
a few years. Yeah, please.
yeah, so your research system is like using the stock price movement to predict the future stock price movement. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I mean, if you have time later on, we can talk more about it. And our audience, feel free to put it in the chat along the way during Ankush sharing. I will ask questions because it's also the first time of me learning from Ankush as well. And if you have any questions, feel free to also put it in the chat. So without further ado, Ankush, maybe you can get started to really share with us what makes you so excited about the India stock market, shall we?
Yeah, Indian stock market is moving having this exciting journey. You can see from 1990s and having a very steep curve. So what made India moving in this direction were some policies which were taken in early 90s, which was liberalization, privatization, and globalization. And herein you will see the glimpses of startups which are emerging, the digital transformation, political stability. We have a big, uh, large consumer base that's good not only for consumption but also for production. The demographic dividend is also in favor of the country. The new tax reforms are also going well in the direction of India. So this is what you'll be seeing how India moved in last 20 years. So the growth rate was 8.3 CAGR, which is like double from the world. And poverty has also been reduced from 55 to 16% in last 15 years, though it is still a big number, but it is in the right direction. And I hope that things will move further in a
Mm.
positive note.
Yeah, Ankush,
Yeah.
before that, right, maybe we rewind back a little bit in terms of just explaining a little bit about the population structure of India. Now, during my own research process, when I was doing my YouTube video, right, one thing I found that's something very interesting about India versus the rest of the country population structure is Indian population are very, very young. Ankush, do you know what is the medium age of Indian population?
Yeah, it's around 27, 20, eight kind of numbers.
Yeah,
So
it's actually below 30. All right. So let me just quickly share screen so that our audience can see. Now, anybody can make a guess. Why is it so important to have a young population? Can you put it in the chat? Why do you think having a young population is so crucial to the growth of the country, which will translate to the growth of GDP? And of course, as you as an investor, you also want to invest in a country has future growth potential, right? So the first thing that you can start analyzing, right, if you're looking into a particular country, it's its population structure. All right, can everybody type P in the chat? Okay, P stands for population structure. Now, let me just share screen. Hold on, maybe I will remove your screen first, and then let me take over from not this, remove, and then let me present. Yes, okay. So as Mr. Asif said, it it drives the economy, right? So, how am I going to hold on? Let me just stop sharing this and present my new slide. Okay, over here, Indian population by structure. Now, if you look at this chart, you will see that India has a super strong and young working force at the bottom, right? And the bottom here is basically by the age lah. So you can see 0 to 4, that all these are like children, right? Infants all the way to children, and the majority, the main bulk here, is in their 20s. Can you see 20s? And then the up on top one, it's those elderlies, right? Like 100 years old and all this. So it's super healthy because let's say imagine 20 years down the road. 20 years down the road, the population structure will start to shift, right? So even though it start to shift, the majority of the population will still be in about 20 to 40 years old, right? Versus, let's take a look at for example, Singapore population structure. Okay, anybody can make a guess. What does the shape look like for Singapore population structure? Okay, so let's take a look. So, all right, guys, let's take a look. So this is Singapore population structure in 2020, right, which is very recently. So right now, our majority of our population are already in our like basically 30s, right? Close to 30 to 40 years old. So guys, make a guess. 20 years down the road, how will the population structure shift? It will literally shift up, right? But then our bottom is so slim, so that means eventually the younger people who are probably in their 10 years old right now, they when they grow older, which is 20 years down the road, they become 30 years old, right? But then majority of population will become in our 40 to even 60 to 70 years old. So this group of population become very heavy in terms of our productivity will become lesser because as we age, we will stop working. But the younger population need to support us, right? So that's when the country is will eventually face a problem, which is what's happening right now to Japan. So if you see Japan population structure, all right, it's already like super in a very bad shape because the median age is in their 40 plus. Can you see their median age is 48 to 50 years old? 20 years down the road, majority of their population are all in their 70s to 80s, while their younger population is all shrinking, right? So that's why the first thing that you can look at is actually population structure. And that's what got me interested into looking into India, because the population structure of India is super healthy. All right. So if you guys can understand the first point of why I personally look into India, and you can consider as well, can you type one in the chat? All right. So in the meantime, Ankush, do you have anything that you want to highlight?
yeah, so India is at a very nice fertility rate now. Now it's not um, excessively increasing, nor it's decreasing. So it's nearly at 2.1 number,
Mm,
which is
exactly.
healthy.
Right. Very healthy, very healthy. And of course, with healthy population structure, the second thing that Ankush mentioned about is the reducing in terms of our the poverty of the population, right? Because only when the poverty start to reduce, that means they have more disposable income, then they can start to spend more, right? Then we start more, then the economy will continue to increase. But of course, there are challenges ahead, which later on we can discuss more, right? But before that, I will pass the time back to Ankush.
Thank you. So if you see the forex reserves, that's also rising, and so which represents the stability in extreme conditions. So it was quite minimal at the time of 1990s, and now it's nearly $600 billion, which is among top five in the world.
Hmm.
Plus
So,
the
so
emigrants.
yeah,
Yeah.
Ankush, if you don't mind sharing a little bit, I guess our audience are also very new. So, how does having a higher forex reserve help?
So if you have to import certain thing, the forex reserves typically helps. As an example, India imports lot of crude oil, and we have to pay based on the forex reserves. So if
Hmm.
that depletes, the economy might be collapsed if there is some unfortunate incident.
Okay, so can I say that like this forex reserve is it's like a wallet, India's wallet,
Yeah,
right? So the
yeah,
more money it has, the more power or like a buffer it has in case anything happen, or they have higher purchasing power. Is that what you mean?
yeah. So they will be having USD, gold as reserves.
Oh, I see. Wow, China is very rich.
Yeah.
How about the US? Where is the US?
US USD is everywhere. So they are not
Okay.
having currencies of others. Rather, other countries are having their currency.
Oh, I see. That's the major superpower. Okay, everybody has your
Yeah,
currency. Got it. Got it.
yeah,
All right. Yeah, we can continue.
yeah. And the immigrants will also be acting as a hedge if there is a economic collapse, because they will prevent the rupees depreciation. If rupees
Hmm.
depreciate, the foreign currency might come in from the immigrants who are staying abroad. There is a big number of Indian who are staying outside India.
Hmm.
Yeah. And Indians ecosystem for startup is also increasing. It was 140th in 2014, and now it's at 63rd number, and still it is rising further. The number of unicorns are also increasing yearly,
Hmm.
as you can
Yeah.
see. So what
So
it reflects the seeds of the giant economy which will be forming from them.
the series of what economy?
These are acting as a seeds, and they will be
Ah,
becoming a big
seeds.
companies in the future, the startups.
I see. So right now, doing business report 2020, it ranks India to be the 63rd place to do business. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Wow, India has really progressed a lot.
yeah,
I see. Can you continue?
yeah. So if you see the standard of living, that is also rising year by year. So this is the growth rate of the auto sector, which is like 27% in FY23. Same is the
Wow.
air traffic, the millionaires and billionaires. Those number is also rising.
Mm. So with so it shows that the population is definitely getting more and more affluent, and that's why they start
Yeah,
to buy car, they start to do more air travel, right?
yeah, yeah. So these are those indicators reflecting that not only poor are coming to middle class is becoming upper class, and upper is becoming even higher elite class. Right.
Mm.
And the digitalization has also played an important role here, where 99.9% people have been now attacked with a digital identity that's helping them to get internet on any type of transaction becomes easy now. Even a small merchant uses those digital wallets to perform the transactions.
I
So
see.
you see the
But I
curve
I
how
also
it
understand
increased.
that, like
Yeah.
hold on, hold on. But I also understand that can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Yeah. So I also understand that there are also a lot of people don't have access to internet, isn't it? So how is this 99.9% accurate?
So this is the Aadhaar number. This is about digital identity of the people. Like Sing Pass we have here, which
Mm.
tells what your FIN number or whatever identity number is there. So almost like 99.9% is now registered with government. If they want to give some scheme, it is easy to give. Earlier there were leakages, there were middlemans. Now it's like a direct bank transfer to any mm, person, citizen in need or any time for the salary purpose.
Yeah. So with the transformation of digital banking, digital finance, do you think that finance sector like banks they play a huge role forward in propelling the growth of the country?
Yeah, so they are now at a different level altogether.
Mm. In the meantime, I'm also very curious about our audience here. Like, how many of you have been to India in recent years? If I've been to India, type I in the chat. Okay. Ankush, when was the last time you went back to India?
Yeah, I was in June.
Oh, June.
Yeah,
So, in your hometown, how convenient is it to have digital payment?
digital payment. Oh, I will say the small tea seller will also be having the digital payment. The cab, the auto driver, uh, the smaller scale people also who are doing the business will be having the QR code. Uh, it happened just in
Okay.
this 4 or 5 years. I will say it was not there before.
Oh, okay, interesting. Now, I think one of the way to test how digitalized this country is, right? Okay, let me show you a picture. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Because we all know China, it's very digitalized, right? So
Yeah.
digitalized until this is very a common site. Is a common site. Let me just share screen. Then for those maybe you have seen before, you will understand what am I talking about. Okay, so I'm going to remove this first and then share screen on this. Okay, so how do we know whether this country is super digitalized? Is even even beggar can have a digital QR code to receive payment. So, Ankush, is this happening in India?
Not so far.
Not so far. Okay, I see. So China is definitely even more advanced in terms of digital
Yeah.
payment. Okay, interesting, interesting. All right.
Cool.
So, but definitely, I think eventually India will move towards that track.
Yeah, yeah.
And Mina said that you have been to India in the recent years. So, Mina, maybe you can also put it in the chat like, what's your impression of India? Now, I just want to do a very quick sharing of my impression of India. I remember I first went to India when I was in my university time. That was, I think, the first year of my university, probably 21 years old, around there. Yeah, something like that. Right. So at that time, like I traveled with my friend, and seriously, I was very shocked by what I experienced in India. Because the moment I landed in the airport looks super nice, like very modern, very clean, right? But the moment I went out to the road, I was literally having culture shock because there's so many people just sleeping on the streets. At the same time, there are cows just roaming around in the streets. So, and then there are also people just peeing in the open air, like there's no proper toilet. It's just roadside toilet, and just people literally can just pee inside, and you can literally see it. There's no door, no shelter whatsoever. So, it has been like, I think more than 10 years since I last been to India. Maybe Ankush, can you share with me, has it changed or not?
Unfortunately, this there is a big section of the people uh, where this kind of challenge is still there. As I mentioned, 15% people are still below the poverty line, and this poverty line is like having just a food. So 1/6 people are not able to afford the basic things also. So that also we need to admit,
Mm.
and India
Uh,
should be progressing in that direction.
yeah, I see. So Jason said that I have some echo. Yeah, I also don't know why. I was trying to figure it out, but I couldn't. So I believe you can still bear with the echo. And Mina said that there's a big change. So I believe right now those people sleeping on the streets, as well as people peeing in the middle of the street, is it still a common sight?
It's reduced in last 20-15 years, I will say.
Mm,
Uh, so, for example, the existing prime minister had this campaign, Clean India kind of campaign, and toilet for everyone kind of motto. So he worked in that direction. The basic necessities. Uh, I think it still needs some more work and more rigorous efforts in next 5-10 years, so that they all can be uplifted to the real economic cycle.
I see. Oh, I think somebody's Mr. Asif said somebody has opened a second YouTube window. Just curious. Uh Ankush, did you accidentally open a second YouTube window? That's why I can hear my echo.
uh, Mine is there, but their speaker is off.
You try to close your YouTube window.
I switched off completely now.
Okay. Is it better? Oh no, I can still hear myself. Never mind, it's all right. So I'm actually looking forward. I think next year I will travel to India in August. And yeah, I think it will be like the 13 years since I travel. I look forward to see the transformation. Now, in the meantime, let's
Yeah,
get
you're
Ankush to
welcome.
continue. I will
Yeah.
definitely go and find you if you are there.
Yeah. So if you see the growth projections from IMF side, so it was like 6.3% for this 2024, which is one among the other countries, as you can see here.
Hmm.
So there is a big room where India is moving ahead, and it's moving to a different transition altogether. So country takes like S shape kind of curve that initially it's difficult to move, then it takes a very big stage, and then it saturates and maturely moves slowly. So India is somewhere moving fastly, and of course some challenges need to be sorted out so that it moves ahead and solves the problem further. So if you
Hmm.
see the PE ratio in the economy side, uh, that's nearly a maximum in terms of the major countries. So, but if you see the PEG ratio, I'm not showing here, but that's still minimal, which shows that it is still a good market to invest in. Typically PE ratio is more if investor feel confidence to put money in it. So, which reflects in the PE number here.
I think
And
something
from
very
the
interesting.
temporal, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like the P ratio of the Indian market, it's in fact higher than the United States based on the chart that Ankush find. So the P ratio generally, for those who don't understand, means how expensive or how cheap the market is, right? So if the P ratio is high, that means the market is relative more expensive versus, let's say, P ratio of China right now is like 9. It's considered relatively very affordable, right? But once again, you don't want to just look at the P ratio alone. You want to compare the P ratio to the growth rate of the country. So I think based on Ankush, you are talking about the PG ratio, which is the growth rate. Are you talking about GDP growth rate or what?
Yeah, G with the growth rate. Maybe your viewers
Ah,
can see PG ratio and they will see it's still undervalued.
I see. Okay. How about the PG ratio of United States compared to India?
I don't have currently values. Maybe we need to browse
Uh,
it.
okay, that's good. That's good. Okay,
Yeah,
we can continue.
yeah, yeah. From the temporal side, if you see, still it is at undervalued side. It was hitting like 40 in 2021, and now it's at 20. So it's like the median P from 2004, you can say. So it's a good
Hmm.
time to invest. It's not a overvalued market now.
Yeah, if you look at P ratio, support and resistance. It also seems to be at the support right now.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, let's go. Let's continue.
Yeah. So once there was news of recession, so based on the Bloomberg report, so you can see it was like 0% probability of the recession in India.
Hmm. Yeah. I
It's
I think
because of the export
yeah.
and import as well as the domestic uh, economy which works parallelly.
I'm so surprised that like Indonesia and Saudi Arabia, it's like super low probability as well because both of them are also growing super fast.
Yeah. So as you we discussed, there are some challenges which India need to cross so that everybody comes to the upper level. So there should be changes in the policies. There should be changes in the red tapeism, and income inequality should be as much as possible sorted out. So these are a few of the challenges India needs to cover up. So now I can discuss the investment approach.
I think everybody is looking forward to this. So can you share with us what's your investment approach?
Yeah. So I try to have a multi-dimensional approach when I try to pick a stock, buy, and have a journey ride on it. So what I try to see once there is a company, there are associated intrinsic values of it. There is a financial track record of it, current results, technical levels, sectors on which it is working. Government also controls them, and of course, foreign investors control the liquidity too. So I
Mm.
try to see how are the weights of them, what's the scenario of them. So whatever price we are trying to pay, is it more or less? So a price whatever is offered is not an absolute number. It depends on all those parameters. Sometimes it can be expensive, sometimes it can be lighter. And secondly, we should see a possibility whether one of these parameters can expand further. As an example, we are at a stage when liquidity is low. So chances are after 1 year, 2 year, it will expand further. So if this weight will increase, price of stocks will also increase. Similarly, if present or results will become more profitable, because now the raw materials are expensive, they will become more smoother. Especially Russia Ukraine conflict have restricted the prices. So there are possibilities that price can rise up. So I try to see from that scenario what is the possible price and what are the things I am getting. So typically when there is a price, it's not a stock price, so many things are associated in it. So it is itself a portfolio of those things, I will say, having past, present, and a future associated in it. So I
So
try to
I,
have
I
undervalue. Yeah.
I just want to also highlight that this thought process of Ankush just shared with you guys is not limited to India stock market only, right? In fact, you can also use it for any market that you are personally invested in, be it US, how the government policy might affect, especially if you talk about like China. This is definitely one of the factor, right? The quarterly results, the financial track record of any company that you want to invest in, you should also check on them, right? And then for technical analysis, you can use it to better gauge the entry and the exit point as well.
Yeah, exactly correct. um, so all those things we try to see how it works well, and I try to use my data analysis and custom codes also to see especially the results, the technical levels, whether it's at undervalued state or not, to have a better entries. And I have a more high diversified portfolio, to have more sectors and companies in it, because I see from my side some advantages to work, and it became more convenient for me personally. Maybe I'll
Mm.
share how I look them. And I have a different strategy for large cap companies as well as small cap companies. Large cap is having a higher market cap, small cap is having smaller market caps. And I, as I mentioned, you use diversified portfolio. The reason is it gives me opportunity to work with multiple sectors and companies, So typically we work with only best companies. I also try to see sometimes even second runners also are good enough and they are not having that much valuation too. So I get opportunity to work with those stocks too, and there are better buying and selling opportunities because any one of them will be at a good technical level to buy. So whenever day I want, I can buy some of the stocks. And at
I just
extreme
want to
case,
ask a question. In
yeah,
when you talk about diverse exposure, right? I think the audience are also very curious. How diversified is your portfolio? Like how many
yeah.
stocks
So
are you, yeah, holding?
I work with like 110 kind of stocks, which is considered as a
100.
upper limit. Yeah,
I see. Okay. Maybe I'm also very curious about our audience here. How many stocks do you have in your portfolio? Okay. You can put it in the chat. If you have 50, type 50. You have 10, type 10. All right. So Ankush has 100, 100.
yeah. So this I found myself to be resonating. So since I work on a more statistical approach, so I try to have a more number of stocks, um, and at a even extreme time it is easy to hold them because allocation will be low in them, can be easily added up, averaged up, and if they give a good return, then also I can hold them. I don't fear that, oh, tomorrow there will be lower circuit. Anyway, this is not a that big allocation, and the allocation can also be changed. For that philosophy, I try to have a more diversified portfolio, which is contrary to other investors I know.
Yeah. That's why CM said you're very rich. You can afford 100 stocks. But I think once again,
So
like, yeah, there's a very good question from our audience. Bowen is asking, how do you manage all these 100 plus stocks, right? If you go through all those thought process, fundamental analysis, technical analysis, isn't it very hard to manage? How do you do that?
yeah, so for that reason, either I work on a screener kind of platform where there are wherein it's easy to filter some of the stocks based on the results, based on their price movements. If I am looking for certain dip, that kind of filters I would have kept in my code or in the online screener kind of things. So I only bother about, I think, 7 8 stocks at a time, because others will be like a standing position within -10 to -50 plus 20 30. So those I don't see much. I see which became over high or are over low, and I
Hmm.
keep them for like 1.5 year.
So, like for example, one of the stocks that you invested gave you 400% return, right? What's the holding period?
Yeah, so it's 1 year to 1.5 year. So all
So
the
one,
stocks are having that period.
1 to 1.5 year.
Yeah.
So, do you have another portfolio that's more for long term that you personally don't think that you're going to sell in 1.5 years' time?
Yeah, so I have multiple portfolios. I have not touched some of the part. Yeah, there are portfolios of that.
Okay, so that's why okay, so answer Bowen's question, he used screener to filter, and then uh that's how you manage 100 stocks at the same time. I still find it unimaginable because considering you're doing it by one person.
Like I make some code that up stock prices having these parameters, those should jump in. So I will have only 4 to 5 stocks to see. So others won't be in my eyes at that time. So I try to
Mm,
see from the market scenario what kind of stocks might be good, what kind of industrial P is good. Like I should see now chemical stocks. So others I won't be looking at that time. In
mm,
this way, I filter and then sub filter based on the finances and technical levels.
okay.
Yeah. So in the large cap, I try to have a more uncorrelated stocks, domestic as well as export. As you know, the IT and chemical had little difficult time. Domestic still worked in India, so I had both of them, so I could sail well.
Mm. Okay, a mix of domestic and export. That means domestic companies versus companies who do export.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. And then you have uncorrelated sectors so that your portfolio will be more balanced.
Yes, yes. So
Mm.
I
So,
don't try to have a maximum return. I try to have more balanced return, so that consistently it can increase.
okay, to follow up on the question about 100 stocks, so Bowen is asking, is it most of the time you are holding them for long term? And then if suddenly price drop for certain companies, you will buy more. And if the price goes too high, you will sell away.
Yeah, Bon. So I have some part of this strategy. So when I get a big return, I do some profit booking. Let's say 20% of them I will sell, and some stocks which are undervalued, and I see that they can move. I can put some money on them, or I take fresh stock, something like that. I do, so that even if the stocks which are at high levels and start giving down movements, I don't panic and I don't lose the money.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, thanks for sharing.
Yeah, but at the same time I don't completely take out my position back, because I know there are possibilities of multi baggers also, which can become
Yep.
even more higher, and I should keep them alive in my portfolio.
I see.
Yeah, so this I maybe here some slight change happen, but and that's fine. So for small cap companies, there's a slightly different strategy. Herein, I start with the finances first, rather than thinking about the macroeconomy. I'll be seeing which companies having good profitability, where sales is rising. So those type of companies I try to have. As an example, I won't be searching a glue company, but if I get a company which is having a more profits, I might add a glue company. I might add a um, paper company or whatever. I won't be searching for a specific company, but it just comes up, and I try to buy them in a staggered manner and on a discounted dates more. And instead of having a decision of yes and no, that I won't buy or I will buy, I have a more analog decision, that this needs less allocation, this needs more allocation. So it saves my time, should I have it or not have it, or it deserves less or it deserves more. That kind of decision I typically take in my companies, if they pass in my criterias. Of course, many countries, many companies get filtered out before that.
So it's more like you if you see an opportunity, you don't try to time it. If as long as it passes the criteria, you buy a bit, and then if it drops some more, you will buy more. Is that correct?
Yeah, in some cases, as I mentioned you about that weighing balance thing based on the intrinsic values. If the price is still less, I buy it. So I don't see as a price in absolute scale. I see based on the values I get from that stock.
Mm, okay.
Yeah, I also try to see about the cycle rotations, that sometime there is a cycle of IT, sometime there is a cycle of public sector banks and so on. IT had a good time 2 years back, but now it was struggling. Um, we in India we had a good time of private public sector banks kind of things this recently, but they had a bad time previously. So it's like a weather; it keeps on changing. So that kind of scenario I also try to have some contrarian view I have, rather than going on a overvalued stock, um, and running behind a moving bus.
Mm.
The buses where there is no occupants, I sit in them and then slowly ride.
So which sector do you think it has more potential from now on, with this cycle and sector rotation?
Yeah. Since in last 2 years, IT had good correction. Chemicals also had a bad time because of the export restrictions and all that. The world also slowed down. So possibly next 2 years, I see IT and chemical might do well. And quality stocks, if you see from the theme wise also, the investors who are from India might be knowing now it had a bad time for the quality stocks. The good banks, good paint companies, chemical companies didn't perform well. Possibly they will also get chance in 1 year, as per my expectation.
I see.
So
All right.
this aspect I see.
Okay, cool.
So
Number of
these are
stock
some of the
purchase. Oh,
stocks.
wow. So this is your own portfolio.
Yeah. So this is which I showed you on that day we discussed.
Yeah.
Uh, so these are having some good returns. So this is some steel company. This some banking IT company. There is a mixture. This is an adhesive company, automobile tire company, and so on. There are less IT companies because IT didn't perform well. Though I tell you, I had a more allocation on IT side. Uh, mm, but my manufacturing and materials company worked phenomenally well, it looks like. So out of like
Mm,
100 companies, as I mentioned you, so 15 17 companies gave more than 80% returns in 1.5 year of investment.
wow. So out of 100 stocks, there are like the 17 best performing stocks, right?
Yeah. So
I
maybe I'll
see.
discuss journey of few of them, why I picked them, which might be of interest.
So I'm also very curious, right? When you allocate, like, is any maximum allocation you will do for any single company? Is it like less than 2%? Is there any certain rule that you follow?
Yes, for small cap companies, I have a lesser allocation. For larger, I typically have a more allocation, and my allocation is proportional to my conviction in the company, how much I know, and how much I have confidence in that company. So that
Mm,
is a bigger thing for me, how much I'm liking that company. So accordingly, I put the allocation, and I don't over do anything. I have a room so that I can average it later on if needed.
I see. So what's the highest allocation you have ever allocated?
I think 3 to 4%.
3 to 4%. Okay, got it. So you are definitely spreading very across. Like there's no one position that will contribute to a huge significant of your portfolio.
So that
Okay.
in future I can make it maximum to 6%. I have a room to make it double. If there is a possibility, I'll see. So that would be like my maximum cap I had in my mind. Five would
Mm,
be cap.
understand.
Yeah. And so these profitable companies keeps on changing, because this is like a today's thing. Today also I had like 17, 18, which are above 18, 80%. Names might be up or down, but this is how it moves.
Mm. But also very curious, like what is the some of the other stocks that didn't do well, right? What's the percentage of loss in this case, roughly?
Yeah, so I tried to have some of them. So this is in the decreasing order of loss making companies. So maximum loss I had like 50%, and two
Mm.
were in 40% regime, and mostly are in 20 to 30.
Mm. So overall, what's your net portfolio performance?
So net is around 23, 24%.
Wow. Yeah, I think it's still very impressive. Like more than 20 over percent. And then like you are holding I think a very safe portfolio. Like there's no one stock that will kill your portfolio.
Yes, yes. I
Mm.
planned like that way only. If IFT would have been worked, then my portfolio would have been even more higher, because I had more
Yep.
allocation in that. But materials worked, so that also sailed me. Yeah.
So your mistakes through your reflection is the valuation, uh, and the financial fundamental analysis not properly done.
Yeah. And sometime in a company, it appears good, and then there is a change. let's say there was a policy, government policy change, there were CBI raids on some companies, and so on.
Hmm. But I hope you guys can also see that Ankush, he really track his portfolio and then he also reflect based on his portfolio result so that he can learn how to become a better and better investor over time. I also hope that this is something that all of us can start to do more, right? Tracking, reflection, right? Can everybody type R in the chat? Okay, R stands for reflect, right? You reflect from your mistakes so that you can always improve to become a better investor.
Yes, I put time in thinking why I went wrong, so that the mistakes get reduced, because it's not that here money is reduced. It could become even, let's say, 20% if it would have been a good bet. So maybe with time, the decision making can become better
Yep, yep,
for
yep.
all
Agree.
investors. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
there's some
these are
people
some of
asking
the.
about, yeah, there's some people asking about what's your view of buying India ETF. Later we will talk about it.
Yeah, I'll come, Kelvin. Yeah. So I'll discuss 3 to 4 stocks, how I took the position in them. Of course, research you can apply on other stocks also in a similar way. So this JSL company was a steel company. At that time, it was appeared to be a cyclic company, so it was not having a interest of investors at that time, and you see it was quite down. So I tried to have it at these locations, and if you see the profitability, maybe here resolution is not good. If screener, you can see if you are interested. The profitability is increasing steadily, sales is increasing steadily without exception, and the price was not justified, I felt. So I took the position in it, and here I was riding it. There was no position where I should sell, but just for safety reason, I would have sold some here and so on. There is no technical level to sell, uh, and
You mean where would
most
you
of the position
sell?
is still with me.
Where would you sell?
uh, uh, Typically after a significant return, because I bought it for 2 reasons. One is the fundamental of the company. Secondly, I was paying lesser price. So first case is same, maybe profitability, everything is good. But second case is not justified. It's not undervalued now. So second reason, I just reduce some positions.
I
And if it
see.
becomes good, I will be with other positions, right?
Hmm.
So this is another company which I got it. I am showing 3 4 different buying strategies. Though most of my strategies were based on the first one, wherein I tried to have more undervalued prices. Here it is not undervalued price. It was a upper circuit company. Uh, it's an emerging company which is making a adhesive. And in India, Pidilite is a bigger adhesive company, which is a having a very high market cap, as you can see here, as compared to this Jyoti Reagents. Uh,
Mm,
Several orders high, and if you see, the results were phenomenally high in Jyoti Reagents. So I
mm.
took the position. So there were some market turbulences at that time, and upper circuit was removed for some time, and I took the position, and then I was here. So this also gave me a good return, as you can see from here,
So
four times
basically,
from this end. Yeah,
you compare with the so-called the largest competitor in the same industry, and then you realize that the largest one is trading at 88p ratio with a very big market cap, and you think
yeah,
in terms of the growth perspective of this sector in general, adhesive
yeah,
material is definitely something that will continue to have more growth in the future, right? And that's why you look at
yeah,
the market cap of J Joti, and then you realize that it has a lot more room for growth,
yeah.
and
In
that's
fact,
why at
I
the
try to see
37p
the
ratio.
reviews of the
Yeah.
people.
Or reviews of the people of the customers.
Yeah, and the
Hmm.
pricing of those product was also less, and customers were liking. So I thought it deserves some investment.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is another company which is like a nail company. Uh, it also had a good sales growth. As you see, there's no dip in sales, there's no dip in profit. It is steadily increasing, but there's no increase in price. So it means PE
Mm.
ratio is reducing over a period of time. So I took positions here, and here also you see 3 4 times I had this investment.
Mm. Do you actually read into their financial report to understand their business model a lot deeper before you buy, or you generally just see from the data?
So first screening I do from the data, then I
Mm.
move to the company's more detail. Like I mentioned about Jyoti Reagents, so I started seeing what kind of things customers are saying and all that. So
Mm.
I started seeing from that perspective more rather than the financial report point of view.
Mm. Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. Another thing was about auto sector. I discussed with you how aviation sector, auto sector is moving in India. So I was also thinking in that direction that auto would be taking a big speed now. But if you see, there are multiple competitors in car sector. Profit margin is less, but tires will be evergreen. Whether there are taxis, whether it's old bike or something. So I took some tire stocks, so they also gave me like double of the return, where car company might not give that much. So these were
Mm.
some of the research aptitudes I took to have the selection of the company, starting from finances filtering and then moving to the systematic story of the company.
Mm. I absolutely love the thought process that you're not just looking at the product itself. We are actually looking into the parts of the product. It's the tools of the product, right? So that like that is evergreen, right? Because if you're talking about automotive, the brands can be having a lot of competition. But at the same time,
Yeah.
they still need to have tires regardless, right? That's why you look into the general trend, like that automotive, airline, or air travel, it's moving, it's growing. And that's why you look into the particular segment inside that.
Yes. So this has been my allocation so far. Like IT, I had more allocation. Like I feel that maybe it might increase in next year or something like that. So materials and finances, I had some allocation, and I had allocation in all the caps, nearly equal weightage. I had more large cap earlier when I
Mm.
the journey, and to buffer and hedge, I also have position in term deposits where I get interest from the bank. um, so like nearly 2020 kind of thing will be in the large, small, and medium, and 20 will be for emergency in bank, and 20 will be if there is a bear phase, and some gold position. This I might increase if gold price will drop in future.
Oh, so it's a very balanced portfolio. Like usually it's about 20% allocation for each category.
Mhm. And this bear face money might increase or decrease based on how the valuation of the market happens in the future.
Mm.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the side that Kelvin is waiting for.
Yeah, so these are some opportunities for you. Maybe it got disturbed while projecting here, but you can see some of the potential returns some of the ETFs can provide, which offers investment in large cap company, large and mid cap company, in some value investment companies, and in small cap companies. India is for top 50 companies in India. India is for large and middle cap companies, and small cap companies like Esmin takes care. IP is on the based on the profitability of the companies and so on. So they have
Mm.
a reasonable um, transaction cost. So I think ETF investment can be a good opportunity for foreign interest investors.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, so you can see one of the example how the return has been. So it's in the USD term, mm, 1 year return, 3 year return, and all that.
Mm. So for yourself, like because you have so many different options that you provided, right? Which one do you think it's better for foreign investors who are very new to the Indian market?
Yeah. So for safe companies, it's better to work with large and middle cap companies. And if you see, and you are also knowing about the domestic things, what is going on in India, then small cap companies also you can think at a correct valuation. You have to see whether the small cap companies index is higher or lower. Uh,
Mm.
so that kind of entries can be done. So that's what I would suggest from my side. It's not a recommendation, right?
I see.
So, as an example, if one is working on 50 companies, more distribution will be on the finance sector, because if India will move, finance will move. They all go in the linear fashion. Money is more, interest, profit margin is more, IT export is there. So, these kind of companies will be more in the Nifty 50. Um,
Mm.
and in Nifty 100 you can also have some part of chemical stocks, because there is no big giant player in chemical sector, so it's not uh, here. And if you are in the more material side, even small cap companies can also be considered. So I already mentioned you ETFs based on them.
Mm.
Yeah, so these are
Cool.
some approaches you can look ahead. So if you have further queries, you can always reach me.
Thank you so much. Wow, how many of you learned a lot from Ankush sharing? If you learned a lot, can you type L in the chat? And in the meantime, just like what Ankur said, I actually first connected with him through LinkedIn, right? Like because Ankur has been following me as well. Then he saw I frequently post about different market insights, and then after I published my YouTube video, I also posted on my LinkedIn. Is that what got you to be interested in connecting with me, Ankush?
Yeah, you
When I
have
was
excellent presentation, and your research in the videos was phenomenal. So it was glad to meet you, and now
thank
having good
you.
conversation with you. Yeah,
Thank you so much. Yeah, so for those who want to connect with Ankush, like he's actually right now based in Singapore, doing his like research right now, right? And if I'm not wrong, it's in SUTD, correct?
yes,
Yeah, so if you have any interest in terms of like wanting to know more about the India stock market and getting him to share, yeah, feel free to connect with him on LinkedIn, and this is his email as well. And I can see all of our listeners learn a lot. Benson learned a lot. Jason, Alan as well. Okay,
thank
fantastic.
you very much,
And
all of
any,
you.
thank you so much as well, right? And
Glad to have
any
your
questions
appreciation.
for
Yeah,
Ankush? Are there any questions? If you have questions, feel free to put it in the chat. And in the meantime, all right, for those who have not followed me, you can also join my Telegram channel as well, right? Where I share a lot different investing insights, and you can also follow Ankush on LinkedIn to continue to connect. All right, thank you so much. Okay, so Mina learned a lot. And with that, okay, Ankush, thank you so much once again for your
thank you
amazing
so much,
sharing.
Chloe. Great
Yeah,
meeting you
can't
all.
wait to
Yeah,
yeah, can't wait to meet you up for coffee again when I start invest in the
yes,
India stock market. I'm pretty sure I have more questions.
yeah. We will discuss. Right. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you. All of you guys have a good night, and thank you for staying all the way until till the end to learn together with us. All right, we'll see you
Yeah.
guys in the next
Have a
sharing.
great time. See you. Yeah.
See you.